The collapse of Lehman Brothers set off a wave of panic on Wall Street. With the U.S. economy already reeling, the government denied the 158-year-old bank the emergency funding, the liquidity it needed to survive.
I think it was a lesson to other firms. You remember, Lehman was leveraged 35 to 1, 39 to 1. I think it was a lesson to firms, hey, we'll let you fail. You got to get your ship in order.
Washington did step up, pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into the banking system. But taxpayer financing wasn't free of charge. Rules changed. Limits were placed on how banks can operate, how many times they can leverage their bets, how much employees could be paid. A year later, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and J.P. Morgan have repaid their bailouts and are free from government restraint to a degree. And that worries some on Wall Street.
The one thing I'm a little concerned about is the pushback against some regulation that's coming. I think a lot of the same folks who are begging for the government to get involved and to save us all back at last September, October, November are the same people who are now saying we don't want the government involved in regulating this industry. It's clear that there are some excesses that are in the industry that need to be regulated, and I'm hoping that we can all come together and find a way to do that.
Regulation or not, risk-taking is back. On the surface, risk inspires confidence and allows capital markets to function normally. But the push for profits could also lead back to excessive risk-taking. That, in turn, could pump up more asset bubbles.
We talk about banks that are too big to fail. I think we've got to find a way to identify those banks earlier in the process and to make sure that they're not engaging in behavior that is so leveraged that it can threaten the system as a whole.
The financial system and the economy may be on the mend, but investors are quick to point out they are not one and the same.
They don't go hand in hand. A lot of people think, oh, the stock market's flying, people are going to get hired. Not necessarily. Remember, after FDR, to go back to the Depression, after FDR was inaugurated, the market rose over 100% right after he was elected. But it would be 10 years before true prosperity came back to the American public.
Stocks have waged an impressive rally this year, but unemployment is expected to top 10% by year-end. And with consumers unwilling to risk all their precious dollars until they find safe seas, Wall Street's risks are going to be closely monitored no matter who is steering the ship. Mark Hamrick, The Associated Press.